Thank you for being here. I hope you guys are doing well. Please take a moment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope you guys are enjoying it. It is the coldest St. Patrick's Day I can remember here in Windsor, anyways. Also, here that's true for my friends in Detroit, but there you go. Give it a few moments. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, and let me know how you guys are doing. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral? Today we're going to talk about the history of Freemasonry and St. Patrick's Day. So there you go. But the first 60 minutes, I always just hang out and wait to see who joins. I got my St. Patrick's Day green beads here, so there's that. Hello, Travis the Pirate. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. And we're going to give it a few. We're just going to see who joins. As you know, the first 60 minutes, I just hang out, chat about whatever. I don't have any specific discussion points. It's the second 60 minutes where I go in with specific topics. So let's see who joins. But Travis, how's it going? Any plans for St. Patrick's Day? If you guys want to give me some gifts, you can give me some lucky clovers. I do plan to be back on streaming tonight. I'm not sure precisely when. Once I'm done this first stream, there'll be a bit of a break. Then I'll probably come back on around 8 p.m. Eastern. So you should be able to find me then. In the meantime, though, I'm just taking a few minutes to leave some comments. It's gray out here as well. So, yeah, it's just a gray St. Patrick's Day in general. First of all, we're going to wish everybody, I don't know how to pronounce that. Sláinte, I can't pronounce it, but I believe that is the traditional Irish greeting. Oh, it's a cheers. It's pronounced Sláinte or Sláinte. All right, there we go. So Sláinte to everybody here. And let's give it some time and let's see who joins. Please take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe. And any thought about being, or any thoughts on Freemasonry, let me know. Or let me know what you're doing for St. Patrick's Day. That would be really awesome as well. And also, may your troubles be less and your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness comes through your door. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Because you call me a coward. And by the way, nobody has a right to be here if I don't want them to be here. So, don't stick around. The Paralympics were awesome. The Paralympics were very, very cool. Sadly, for Canada, the USA did take the gold, which meant Canada came in second place, which, hey, you know what? Silver is still nothing to be ashamed of. But, hopefully in 4 years' time, Canada will make it back to the gold medal game, which I'm excited for. And maybe the Americans can just keep our medals shiny for us. Thank you for the lucky clover in honor of St. Patrick's Day indeed. And I hope that you guys are doing well. And thank you again, everybody, for being here. We're going to hang out. After the first 60 minutes, I'm going to once again give you guys the specific topic, which today is Freemasonry and St. Patrick's Day. There's some really cool connections between the two, so it'll be fun to talk about. But that is after the first 60 minutes. I do not understand you. Caesar is back. I don't get it. Just start your own channel and then do whatever you want. Why are you always hanging out on this channel? hello, you. I'm gonna call you Yao, or I guess I could call you Queen as well, but I will call you Yao. How's it going? Thank you for being here. I read the Bible ages ago. It's been a very long time, sadly, since I've read it. I'd like to read it once again, so I'm certainly not conversant in it. I wish I could say that I was, but I'm still great to have you here. There are many Christian Freemasons as well as Masons of many different faiths and beliefs. Um, so then go somewhere else where you can have a simple dialogue. My suspicion is you're going to find yourself banned in many places, but at this point, you're almost like a stalker. You're very strange about this. And Javier, who is the loser? The person who keeps showing up on a stream or the person who is streaming? You're the one who's here, unless you're talking about other people in the chat, which again, I wouldn't call anybody a loser. But there are definitely people who have a weird fascination with this channel and need to perhaps find better ways to spend their time. Not that I don't appreciate people being here, but I appreciate people being here for the right reasons. Um, for the time being, though, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. And any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, please let me know. For the time being, we're just going to hang out. I'm not going to do a horror movie marathon, but I will likely be coming back on tonight around 8 o'clock, probably on my personal channel. And we'll be talking about the Leprechaun movies, which I love the Leprechaun movies. I think they're very, very underrated and very underappreciated. I like number 3 the best. And also, a lot of them are available for free right now on Tubi, I believe, as well as available for free on Prime, I think. Tubi, Tubi, is a great spot for scary movies. Very underrated. It is, Javier, you're not wrong. Leprechaun to the Hood. And then not only does he go to the Hood, but he goes back to the Hood. I agree, Nick Slice. Leprechaun in Vegas. That's my favorite one. Part 3. It's a very close race between part 3 and part 4. I love them both. But I would say I prefer part 3. It's close, though. It's very close. Hello, Double A. How's it going? Thank you for being me. That, Nick Slice, you have just brought up something I would love to see. Genuinely, Rumpelstiltskin. That is absolutely on my list of like things I really want to watch. Because I hear it's like a horror movie classic. Sadly, though, I've never got around to seeing it. I don't even know where to find it. I can't rent it anywhere. I can't watch it on I can't find it on streaming. I don't know where to find it. If anybody has that DVD and wants to send it to me, I would be grateful because Rumpelstiltskin is absolutely one of those movies that is on my list of things I want to see and have not had the chance to see it yet. So I hear it's really good. I hear it's almost like one of those horror movie it's one of those movies that everybody talks about as being like a great example of 90s straight to DVD or straight to video horror. So I did too. I love that movie. Like I've said it before, I think Leprechaun in Vegas is the best one, but they're all good. They have such a kind of a cheesy, cool, fun vibe to them. I always suggest that if people want to if anybody wants to check out if anybody doesn't like scary movies or wants to start watching scary movies and wants a good place to start, I always suggest Leprechaun, the first one with Jennifer Aniston, because it's a great movie. It's chill. It's not too it's not too scary. It's fun. It's not too gory. It's not gory at all. It's a great place to start. Caesar, do you not have friends? Do you not have people you can hang out with? Do you not have streams where you can go? At this point, you're like someone who keeps knocking on the door after I've locked it. What is going on with you? Same director as the first two Leprechaun movies. I did not know that. Hello, GZUZ. I can't pronounce that. Not if I keep banning you. That should be a hint. GZUZ. What is going on with you? Thank you for being here. We're just hanging out. I do these streams every Monday through Friday, 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. We talk about Freemasonry. The first 60 minutes, I just hang out, chat about whatever. We didn't talk about Freemasonry. Also, I just hang out and answer questions. The second hour, we have specific topics. Today it's going to be about Freemasonry and St. Patrick's Day. I got the green necklace in honor of St. Patrick's Day. That's what we're going to talk about. Great day. I'm just scrolling. Well, if you have any questions about Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, please let me know. I've been a Freemason for just about 20 years. It's crazy to think it's been that long. That's kind of the purpose of this channel. I also have my personal account where I talk about things not related to Freemasonry, scary movies. I might be doing a Leprechaun movie watch along tonight, starting around 8 o'clock on my personal channel, youtube.com/@CameronAdamson. Well, thank you to YouTube for sending you my way. It's much obliged. And thank you if you did hit the subscribe button. I've answered this question a bunch, Caesar. The fact that I have to keep answering it is why you keep getting banned. I told you should use critical thinking skills and your intelligence. I told you that we within Freemasonry comply with the laws of the country in which we live. We're instructed to comply with the laws of the countries in which we live or in which we visit. We're not out to harm anybody or hurt anybody, nor is Freemasonry a criminal organization. All of that should indicate to you what the answer to that would be. The fact that you keep asking the same questions over and over again, or the same types of questions, is why you keep getting banned. And once again, you don't have to be here. So use some common sense skills. Really? I had no idea. That's interesting. Blue Lodge. I mean, now it's green. Hence, I got the green necklace in honor of St. Patrick's Day. This was given to me by somebody today, actually. I don't know if anybody's going out for St. Patrick's Day. If you are, let me know where you're going. I hope that you guys will enjoy your St. Patrick's Day. Try to stay warm. If you're in Windsor, it is freezing at the moment. It is very, very chilly. Very, very cold. So, same thing with Chicago, I hear. Very, very cold also. All right, we're probably going to ban Caesar again in a second. I'm sure he'll create a new. I'm assuming he. I don't know for sure. We'll just create a new account and be back tomorrow. But so be it, right? But let's not talk to Caesar. And GZUZ. What type of stuff do you find interesting on YouTube? By the way, like I said, 60 minutes. We'll start talking about. Freemasonry and St. Patrick's Day. Midnight Freemasons have a really cool article about it. So that's probably what we'll focus on and talk about. The Midnight Freemasons article. Well, the point is, I mean, same thing with Traveling Hobo. Just nobody talk to each other on the stream. Just stick to talking to me. You don't need to talk to other people or bring up other people. And Caesar, you need to, without question, find. I mean, there's plenty of streams on YouTube. I don't get what your interest is in this one per se, especially because I've pretty much answered all the questions. Now you can agree with the answers or disagree with the answers. That's perfectly fine, but the questions have been answered. Um, all right. Well, Saint Rick, no. All right, guys, welcome. Please take a moment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for being here. I hope you guys are having a great St. Patrick's Day. Once again, we're just hanging out. The first 60 minutes or so, no specific topics. And then we switch over to specific topics. Today it's going to be Freemasonry and St. Patrick's Day. Axeman, well, I am not Catholic myself. Having said that, this stream is welcome to anybody who wants to hang out, Catholic or otherwise, so long as you're not being foolish in the chat. This stream is welcome for anybody. Freemasonry also has many Catholic members, as well as many, Jewish, Hindu, Sikh, Protestant, Indigenous, First Nations, whatever it might be. No, I haven't. It technically is not banned. It's hiding from the channel. It's called. But I haven't banned anybody yet. But again, just focus on talking about me. So, Axeman, when you say hi, fellow Catholics, is that because you think Freemasonry is Catholic, or is there a specific, like, what is your thinking as to why you think Freemasonry, or I'm a Catholic, or is it just because St. Patrick's Day, Saint equals Catholic? What's the thinking? And by the way, please hit like and subscribe. Consider giving a gift. You can do so through YouTube, especially if you're in the States. Ireland, Southern Ireland is in the EEC. Northern Ireland is in the British Commonwealth. Yeah, I do not know a lot about the Northern to Southern Irish distinction or what that means. I do not know much about the history of Ireland, other than obviously it's gone through a lot of stuff over the years. But, from the potato famine through to conquest, through to the bombings and the civil unrest. But it still is, from everything I've seen, a beautiful country with really beautiful, really cool people. Why would you be back if I ban you? What does that say about you and your life? Which seems like you take pleasure in annoying other people, which seems like a weird way to spend your life. You'd think you'd rather just focus on making your life as good as you can. Well, welcome back, Samu Chiro. I think I pronounced that correctly. I hope that you're doing well. And it's great to have you back once again. Do you have any plans for St. Patrick's Day? And if you do, let me know what they are. I don't have any plans personally going out, but I will likely be streaming on my personal YouTube channel around 8 p.m., 8 to 9 p.m. We're going to watch some Leprechaun movies. It'll be a lot of fun. Well, I mean, there's a difference. That's kind of like saying, drink Guinness, good for you. That's kind of like saying, the speed limit is 60. How can people drive 70 or 80, right? Not everybody is necessarily going to follow the rules of their particular faith, or more specifically, the extent to which those rules are enforced is, very hit and miss. For example, in Ontario, it was always famous that the speed limit on the 401 was 100 kilometers per hour, but regularly people went 110, 120. It was incredibly rare you saw people actually going 100. I mean, there are many Catholics who join Freemasonry. They may tell their priest or parishioner that they've joined, in which case technically they are not allowed to take communion, but whether that's enforced or not, I have no idea. the extent to which it's enforced by the church as well. Again, you may tell your priest that you've joined Freemasonry or your parish, and they may decide to join you or not. They may decide to give you communion or not give you communion, depending on the relationship. But I mean, the extent to which it's part of the faith is one thing. There's nothing. It's not illegal though. From a Masonic perspective, you're welcome to join Freemasonry and be a Catholic, and also from a from a legal perspective, there's nothing wrong with being Catholic and being a Freemason. It's a matter for the church and the individual parishes. But I know many people who are active in the Catholic faith and active in their church and active Freemasons. Leprechauns came to Ireland from France. True fact. Is that true, Chip Broadhead? I had no idea. You're not wrong, we watched. You're not wrong. Lost River CH, welcome. Thank you for being here. I mean, I've said it before, though, we as Freemasons should still, and I believe this, should still act in a manner that's responsible for our health and the health of others. That includes, we should make sure that we are being, trying to put out healthy food as much as possible within our Masonic, putting out as much healthy food as we possibly can for our brethren during refreshments. Keeping in mind, Freemasonry should also be fun. I'm not suggesting we just put out carrot sticks and celery, for example. Which lies? I'm not sure to which ones you're referring. Well, it's the Americans. It's the Americans who have the additive foods. I mean, I think there's a lot of unhealthy food around the world, not exclusive to America. It's up to us to be responsible to make healthy choices as much as we can. I talked about this yesterday a lot. Whether I am or not is irrelevant to being a Freemason. Freemason there are gay Freemasons, straight Freemasons. It's irrelevant. Freemasonry judges the man, and whether he's good and honorable, or the person, because there's women Freemasons as well. It's not judging people based on, for example, sexual orientation. Hey, I love Rocket Man. I love Elton John, one of the best performers of all time. I would suggest maybe the best male performer of all time. In my opinion, best female performer is Janis Joplin. Doesn't get the respect she deserves nearly. But Elton John is the shit. He's awesome. Not a Freemason? Brad Paisley is a Freemason. I just discovered yesterday he is on American Idol. So I think that's really cool. Why would I give you what street I live on? Why would I give people in the channel what street I live on? Yeah, the country singer. He's talked about it a few times on social media. And he's doing, he's definitely, I would say, a credit to Freemasonry. So, yeah. Living on Elm Street is very cool. If you know how much I love scary movies, living on Elm Street is incredible. Honestly, I would move to a street called Elm Street just because it's Elm Street, If I could get to 1428 Elm Street, that would be really, really cool. Why the whole existence of... I'm proud to be a traveling man, although travel in the States right now is very difficult due to Department of Homeland Security shutdown. Why the whole, and also the cost of oil, which is now plus 81 cents since February 28th, so it's gone up by 81 cents. Why the whole existence of Freemasonry? What do people gain? Well, I mean, what people gain is a very personal question in that it changes person to person, individual to individual, right? For me, I gain a feeling of being closer to my grandfather, who passed away before I was born. Other people gain a sense of confidence, an ability for memorization, or develop that skill They learn how to organize and control meetings. They develop and gain a sense of community. They gain a sense of belonging. Some people gain a sense of enjoyment of being part of a tradition. Ultimately, what you gain is no different than what you gain by spending a night with your friends or going out to the bar with your friends. It's a social club, it's a social group. What do we gain from socializing with anybody? Human beings are meant to socialize. We're meant to enjoy one another's company, right? That's always been part of what it is to exist, and to be human, right? In terms of why the existence of Freemasonry, I mean, Freemasonry, like almost most things, there is no specific why to it. It's a lot of things that happened over time. You had a group of stone masons, trade unions, and trade guilds who decided to, who were trade unions. They worked with stone, they were professionals. People started to join their guilds or their unions not to become professional stonemasons, but for the social aspect and the socialization, for the social safety net that came with being part of a group, especially in the 16th, 17th centuries. And it just evolved from there. It's not as though somebody sat down and said, we need to create Freemasonry. Rather, people started joining guilds for the social aspect. The social aspect took off, and Freemasonry developed as a consequence of that. Hello from Kiwi Toffee. Is that a type of um, um, is that a type of candy? Um, well, welcome Kiwi. Welcome from New Zealand. Companionship, charitable work, solidarity. I mean, yeah, all of those things you gain. What you gain from Freemasonry, though, is a very personal thing. But that's also true for anything that is done in life, right? Like, that's true for playing sports. Some people love sports for the health and wellness aspect of it. Some people love sports for the um, but is there a specific type of thing called kiwi toffee? Some people love sports for the um, I'm trying to think of like some people love sports for the team aspect of it. Some people love sports for the companionship. Some people love sports for the health benefits they get from it. Some people love sports for the strategy, right? What you gain from it is going to be dependent on who you are and why you started playing. In the same way, what you gain from Freemasonry is dependent on who you are and what you gain from it as well. Um, I love lentil soup. Lentil soup is great. I don't disagree with that at all. No, Freemasonry will not help you crush your opponents because Freemasonry is not about crushing anybody, opponents or otherwise. Freemasonry is about helping you become the best version of yourself, perhaps, or at least the most ethical version. And if you are the most ethical version of yourself, you will not want to crush anybody, um, opponents or otherwise. You will learn that the best revenge is not crushing other people, rather, it is being the best version of yourself and helping the world. And let your opponents worry about themselves. Afternoon, Michael Moore. Thank you for being here. By the way, Michael Moore, on March 28th from 9 to 11, we have that community services event. I have to present a prize to Zion Lodge. So if you want to be there as well, I think you're coming. I will present you with your gift as well because I owe you a coin since, sadly, the Americans lost to the Canadians. Um, the Americans defeated the Canadians, got the gold medal in the sled hockey, which means I owe you a coin and I owe Zion Lodge a coin as well. Um, I'm from Canada. I am from Canada. I was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, currently live in Windsor, Ontario. Uh, you're just lucky you're not banned at this point, Caesar. You're not getting a coin, that's for sure. Now, if you wanted to become a Patreon, you could get a coin. Um, why does it appear to be 6:33 a.m.? Okay, by the way, Kiwi, I hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button. Toffee for supporter of Everton. Caesar, well, you're not a Freemason, so you're not coming to any meetings, that's for sure. Um, when you say, why does it appear to be a secret society? I mean, I like the way you phrase that because it does appear to be a secret society. Um, or it's not a secret society, but I can understand why some people think it appears to be that. Ultimately, it's because we have private elements and private qualities to being a Freemason. There are private ceremonies and rituals, and those things are kept private, not secret, but private, in order to maintain the bonds of brotherhood between membership, right? Cyclo, there'll be no anti-Semitism in this chat. I would have won a coin from Zion Lodge, and I would have won a bottle of American whiskey, which I would have given to my brothers. It's kind of like having a family recipe, is the example I always use. Um, David Thompson. If your family has a family recipe, your grandmother made cookies or whatever it is, the family may choose to keep that a secret, to keep that private, not because there's anything negative or wrong about the recipe. However, because it's meant be keeping it private, keeping it within the family is a way to maintain the bonds between past, present, and future generations of the family. For us in Freemasonry, we don't have a recipe, though some junior wardens do. We have our ritual. We have our ceremonies. We have our, we have a ritual and our ceremonies. And maintaining the privacy of those rituals and maintaining the privacy of those ceremonies is a really great way for us to maintain the bonds of brotherhood between past and future generations. But it's not a secret society. I'm here. I'm happy to talk about it. I'm on stream all the time. I'm lucky to be on stream all the time. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where you just have to put your work, time, and effort into it. Yes, you do, Caesar. You have to be a member to attend a meeting unless there is a special public event taking place. And some lodges will hold, for example, public events. They may hold open houses. They may hold information sessions. Whatever it is that might be, they may hold. So, but Freemasonry, right, to actually attend one of the meetings, they are what's called tiled meetings. And part of being in a tiled meeting is it's members exclusive. Sorry, when you say relationship with church, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you mean does Freemasonry have a relationship with the church? Which it does not, because Freemasonry is a individual organization. It's a secular organization. It's not religious. Or do you mean do Freemasons, like individual Freemasons may be Roman Catholic, or they may be Hindu or Sikh or Protestant or Jewish or Muslim. They will have their own beliefs in a supreme being. But Freemasonry is not in and of itself a religion. Sometimes there are what's called divine services that take place, which is where Freemasons will attend a religious service to support their brethren of that particular faith. Can you tell us about some charitable works? I mean, Kiwi, Freemasonry has done a ton of charitable works. And honestly, sometimes they're done in secrecy because there's this, within Freemasonry, there's this, I guess, maybe encouragement to be modest and not use charity as a way to big ourselves up. But a lot of charitable work is done in public. A great place to learn more about Masonic charitable work is the Masonic Charitable Foundation. I got to visit it last year, and it was really cool. If I recall correctly, let me get the passcode. Not the passcode, the URL. So the Masonic Charitable Foundation, it's based in London. It supports Freemason families with 15 million pounds of grants annually and provides 5.5 million pounds to outside charities focusing on areas like children, health, education. The Masonic Foundation of Ontario has the same type of work. I'm just seeing if I could find the website. Here it is. It's mcf.org.uk. That's a great one. mcf.org.uk. And if you actually check out the impact section, you will learn that they have awarded $3.7 million worth of grants to local and national charities, and 8.5 million pounds total value of support provided to individuals. So yeah, they are doing an incredible job. When you say, so boon, I do not know what it means when you say only one way and that's your own imagination. Kiwi, personal choice, like personal choice to be a Freemason? Absolutely. Everybody should choose themselves. Like, Freemasonry prides itself on you join of your own free will and accord, which is a really good thing, right? Freemasonry, you're not forced to join, nor should you be. You also don't get, quote unquote, born into Freemasonry. That's not how it works. A lot of people think if you have family members who are Freemasons, somehow you're born into Freemasonry. That would be antithetical to what Freemasonry believes, which is everybody has the right to choose for themselves if they want to join or not join. So you can have, a dad, a grandfather, a great-grandfather, a great-great-grandfather, all of whom are Freemasons. You're still not born into it. You have to choose to join of your own free will and accord. Yes, Kiwi, personal choice of religion. Within Freemasonry, it's absolutely the case that you absolutely have the right to believe whatever it is you choose to believe when it comes to religion. We have men of all different faiths, backgrounds, beliefs, from, again, Indigenous, First Nations beliefs around like spirituality. I've met some Wiccan Freemasons, Hindu, Sikh, Christian, Muslim, Jewish. That's one of the best things about Freemasonry. I have no idea how many leaks there are in a Welsh pound. How can you guys help this channel, though? I know that. Hit the like button, subscribe button, and consider giving some super chats or some gifts if possible. What does what mean, Norman Paul? I am not a part of the York Rite. I am part of Scottish Rite. Templar is such a cool word. It looks like the originating or the origin of the idea of the Templars as being part of Freemasonry dates back to 1737, thereabouts, when Andrew Raymond Chevalier decided to made a speech in which he claimed he was a Freemason. He was living in France, and he claimed that the Freemasons originated from the Templars, or the Crusaders, he called it, of the 10th, 11th, 12th centuries, thereabouts, 13th and 14th centuries. My suspicion is it's almost certainly apocryphal, meaning it's very doubtful that it was actually the case that there was a direct connection. Rather, it was invented by Raymond Chevalier. But Templar is such a cool word. There's no Bank of Wales. I don't know what that means. Chip Broadhead. Hey, this is in honor of St. Patrick's Day. I got the green St. Patrick's Day beads. Celebrating, we're all Irish today on St. Patrick's Day, right? We're all Irish today on St. Patrick's Day. Maybe tonight on my personal YouTube channel, like I said, my plan is to watch some Leprechaun. Maybe we'll do it together. We'll watch it together. It's available for free, I think, on Tubi at the moment. I also get it on Prime, a lot of them. What's your cat's name, Kiwi Toffee, before you go, if you can stick around for a couple? I have a cat named Bandit. Yes, I do. So don't do that, but hit the like and subscribe button. How about that? I'm doing well. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. I hope you're having or going to have a good St. Patrick's Day. By the way, Mr. Keeps, do you have any plans for St. Patrick's Day? Oh, which one am I going to watch? I don't know. Maybe part three. That's one of my favorites. Um, I think I think probably my favorite of the Leprechaun films is part three. Cat's name is Donnie. That's a great name for your cat. I hope your cat's doing well. I hope you have a great day at work. Thank you for stopping by. Do you guys celebrate St. Patrick's Day? And if so, do you have any plans? Well, then, Mr. Keeps, maybe you can join me. I'll probably be here. Like I said, I think I'll start around 8 p.m. or so with the actual stream, if that's what I decide to do. It'll be on my personal channel. So youtube.com/at Cameron Adamson. We're not doing an interview. You can find a lot of other people to interview you, but we're not doing an interview, you and I. Um, what I would suggest is you send an email to, I don't know where you live, but send an email to the Grand Lodge within your area, explain what you're doing, and express your interest in joining. But I've decided we're not going to be doing an interview. Um, Thanks. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you as well. Um, because I don't want to, and I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. Um, I hope everybody here is doing well. We're going to give it a bit more time. Like I said, the first 20 minutes is going to be focused on, or the first 60 minutes, excuse me, is just focused on answering general questions, hanging out. Don't have any specific topics. Then we switch over. Today's topic, Freemasonry and St. Patrick's Day. The Midnight Freemasons have a really great and a really excellent um, article written about the connection between Freemasonry and St. Patrick's Day. I'll leave a link to that article in the description to this live stream. Um, it is Stephen L. Harrison, 33rd degree. He wrote it. I don't have the date on this article. 20, looks like it was written around 2014. So there you go. You do have to work to pay for your pension and house and bills. Working is very important. There's no free rides, unfortunately. Everybody has to work. And, but I think the goal for life should be to find a way, if possible, to do the thing that you love to do. Now, it's not always easy, it's not always possible, but if you can combine your work with your love, that is really important. And if you can't, then you find a way to fill your leisure time with something that you love to do, whether it be Freemasonry or the Elks or the Moose or whatever else it might be. Congratulations. That is awesome. You should be really proud of yourself. And sometimes, Satan, right? That's the way it works. I think a lot of people can give up hope if they don't hear back from something soon, or if they you know, because you having to wait 8 months, I think a lot of people could give up hope, think it's never going to happen. Sometimes big things just take time, and maybe it takes more time than you wanted it to take. But if you just keep the faith, for lack of a better term, keep on trying, I do believe sooner or later you can find success. And you never know where it's going to come from. So that's awesome. You should be very proud of yourself. Um, I'm grateful, or I'm very happy for you. And you deserve it. So keep up the good work. You should be proud of yourself. Um, I don't know when you start at the job, but I wish you best of luck. And I hope that you enjoy it. Um, there you go. Yeah. Learn to take no for an answer, Caesar. Learn to take no for an answer. I mean, I'm not ashamed to be a Zionist. I've said many times I would consider myself a Zionist. I'm proud to be a member of Lodge Holy Land number 50 out of Israel, out of Tel Aviv. I'm hoping for as much as possible the safety of everybody who is finding themselves in harm's way right now, living in the Middle East, including and not limited to my Masonic brethren who may be in Israel, maybe in Jordan, maybe in Lebanon. Um, I'm wishing nothing but safety for them as much as possible. I can imagine how scary it must be for everybody. Also, to any families or any Masons in Iran, there is the Grand Lodge of Iran in exile, um, and they maybe have many friends, family members still living in Iran. They may travel back to Iran, so I'm thinking about them as well. Um, Rapid Dog. Well, I mean, I didn't even know you were in, so okay. I guess you are out. Um, I mean, no, I would consider myself a capitalist, although I think, Freemasonry, for the record, is not political. So there are many Freemasons who may describe themselves as communists. There are many who may describe themselves as capitalists. There are many who may describe themselves as socialist. Who knows, right? Freemasonry, in terms of political systems and economic systems, every Freemason will have his own view of what the appropriate political and economic system is for the country. Um, I mean, I don't know if you can necessarily judge anybody's economic beliefs based on whether they are or are not a Freemason or what. I would say and this is me speaking personally, I tend to be more towards capitalism as a general rule, but regulated capitalism is key. Because if you let it go, I think that creates, if you just let it kind of proceed or evolve without any guardrails at all, that can become, I think, dangerous. Um, because sooner or later, profits will take precedence over health, over safety, and that becomes a real problem for obvious reasons. Same. I mean, I think I once saw a quote that said something to the effect of nothing happens by chance, everything happens by appointment. I believe that to a certain extent. I can understand that. We are going to give another 10 minutes, then we're going to start on the main topic today, which again is Freemasonry and St. Patrick's Day. The Midnight Freemasons have an excellent, excellent article about the history of Freemasonry and St. Patrick's Day, and we're going to review that. Um, but that will be another 10 minutes. For now, we're just hanging out, waiting to see who joins. So please take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Yes, Freemasonry is non-religious and it's non-political. I mean, yo mama, I don't think I would say that. I guess I'll let you decide for yourself what you believe in terms of whether that does not seem likely to me. Um, you were born into the religion of your parents. I mean, very often that's the way it works. Not always. Sometimes people may be born into, people may convert to a different religion later in life or join a different religion later in life. Um, right, the fact that their parents are Christians or Muslims or Jewish, whatever it might be, may have no effect on their own personal faith journey. But very often, at least I think when you're younger, certainly you find yourself maybe drawn to or maybe being more aware or knowledgeable of the um, religion of your parents. Um, I mean, that has never been my experience. I mean, I don't think, I've never seen any evidence, and certainly within my own 20 years of being a Freemason, any experience or any indication that, no, Jax, you're on your own, but you can hit the like and subscribe button, that Jewish people are more likely to be Freemasons than any other group. It tends to be whatever the dominant religion or religious affiliations are of the community in which you live. That is the kind of religion within the lodge. So, for example, if you live in a community where it's majority Christian, your Masonic lodge will have a majority Christian members. If you live in a community where it's majority Muslim, same thing. If majority Jewish, same thing. As a general rule, very broadly speaking, Masonic lodges and the membership therein will reflect the demographics of the communities in which they're located. So I've never seen any evidence that Jewish people are more likely to be Freemasons or less likely. Um, Even worldwide, it's not been my experience. I mean, I've traveled around the world for Freemasonry. I've been, um, I've been to Masonic meetings in the Philippines. I've been to Masonic meetings in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, in Bogota, Colombia, in all across the United States of America, across Canada, in England, in Scotland. I've never seen any evidence that worldwide there are more Jewish Freemasons than any other group. My suspicion is, based on what I've seen, the majority of Masons are Christian, because that seems to be the majority religion in the world, to my understanding. But again, they could be of any different faith, belief, background, religion, as well as any ethnicity. Um, I'm an atheist, so with that in mind, I thank all of the gods people write about, wrote by. I mean, I think it's probably a very good thing to thank whatever it is that you believe, to thank it for being for your life, right? It's this idea of you don't have to be here. The fact that you are, when I say you are, the fact that you get to be alive and get to enjoy being alive and enjoy being part of this world is really special, right? And we should be grateful for that. I've heard some people say God is simply the thing to which they give thanks for their life. Just some truth to that. And whatever you kind of believe that to be. Um, well, we're not going to discriminate against anybody. 99 point, first of all, I don't think 99.999 is quite accurate. My suspicion is there's more atheists than 0.00001%. And people within this channel have the right to believe whatever they want. That includes the right to believe in no particular religion. Um, many people would consider many people would consider me to be atheist. I'm not, but many people consider my beliefs to be more in line with atheism. Um, that's silly, Satan. I mean, they think they can come to it from a very reasonable place. And it's not as though there's no decent arguments for atheism as well as religion, right? Um, well, not with me. So there you go. we're going to give it a bit more time. We're going to wait to see who joins. Once again, please hit like, please hit subscribe. In 5 minutes, we're going to start talking about Freemasonry and St. Patrick's Day. So give it a bit of time. Wait to see who else joins. Thank you all for being here. Consider doing some super chats. Consider doing some gifts. It would be much obliged. I try. I don't always succeed at being a likable chap, and it depends who you ask. But I do my best to be likable when I can be. Cameron. My name is Cameron, and I hope everybody here is doing well. Thank you all for joining. Consider doing a super chat, sharing this stream, hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button. All that stuff helps out big time. I love Chicago, B710, and you know I love Chicago. I talk about it all the time. One of the, in my opinion, maybe the greatest city in the world. It's a place I always love to visit, so. I know that you guys have dyed your river green, which is awesome. That's something I always love about Chicago. I can't get you into Freemasonry. That's not how it works. But if you want to be a part of Freemasonry, you just need to find the lodge in your area and approach them. I mean, Jefferson Park is a really great Masonic building. It's one that I love. So I would suggest maybe you consider approaching them. You can find them easy enough. They're right off of the Jefferson line. There's McDonald's next to them. It's a really, really cool spot. Really, really cool lodge. Really, really cool building. You know, maybe just even shoot them off an email. I think if you type in Jefferson Masonic Association Chicago, it should pop up on Google, if I recall correctly. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I can't make you do anything. I also can't make your interest grow. Hopefully, what I can do is provide interesting content, which will help me turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession. But at the end of the day, it's up to you, the extent to which you decide to join. Freemasonry is all about the personal choice and desire to go. Well, hopefully I can inspire you to go, but we'll see. So I don't know what perennial philosophy is. I think Freemasonry is a worthwhile endeavor for somebody who's interested in metaphysics. I think Freemasonry is a worthwhile endeavor for somebody who's not interested in metaphysics. You know, metaphysics, I think it's too broad of a term, right? For anybody who is interested in, thank you, anybody who's interested in, you know, I'm trying to think of what the word is. For anybody who's interested in kind of trying to better understand, how do I put this? I'm trying to think of a good way to put this. One of my favorite books, it's written by Chuck Klosterman, and he wrote Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs. And he said something I thought was really cool at the beginning of that book. He said, ultimately, everything is connected, and you can learn about what it means to be alive from any number of different sources, whether it be Plato and Aristotle or pop culture and television. And I kind of think that's true, and I think that applies to Freemasonry also, in the sense that if you're interested in metaphysics, you're interested in the metaphysical, thank you for the clover. You can learn about metaphysics, and you can learn about the metaphysical from Masonic ritual, or from reading about it, or from joining other groups. It's about how you apply the information, if that makes any sense. I mean, I'd be hesitant about using mushrooms, but okay. I mean, Brian Thomas, They do have cave degrees, so it's very possible that it was a Masonic degree. I don't, a Masonic symbol. I don't know if they had it in Arkansas, but they have some in Mississippi, for example. All right, I'm on your page. I can't see the symbol. Where? Oh, what is this symbol by the White River? Is that the? I'm trying to see if I can take a look at it. I don't see anything right now. I just see a bunch of rocks. I'm looking, but I can't see the symbol at the moment. I just see a bunch of rocks. Hey, there's no rush at all. You got to focus on, saving your money, doing what's best for you. If you want to become a member, I'd be honored and grateful. But if you can't afford it, just being here, liking, subscribing, all of that stuff matters a lot. So I don't go to a gym. I don't see the symbol to which you're referring in this video. I don't go to a gym. My apartment complex has a gym, so that's good enough for me. Although I also do a lot of exercises just without using a gym, right? Push-ups, sit-ups, cardio, a lot of that stuff you can do without a gym. Right? So you need to keep that in mind also. But, when I travel to Chicago, sometimes I'll use the gym there, Equinox or Core Power Yoga. So I don't think so. No, I'm not interested in practicing law. I want to focus on this and focus on Freemasonry and being a Freemason more so than practicing law. I think, yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, keep it simple, right? The military, which probably has more of an emphasis on being fit than anything else, um, if it's good enough for the military, it should probably be good enough for us as well. Um, yeah, and I loved it. I really loved being in law school. It was incredible. It was a blast. I enjoyed it very much. Just because you end up not using your degree in the way you thought, it doesn't mean I didn't learn a lot of valuable lessons from being in law school. It doesn't mean I didn't really love being a Freemason. Or sorry, being in law school. And it doesn't mean that some of the lessons from law school don't apply to my time here being on YouTube, right? I saw the rock video, but I didn't see a symbol on it. Um, sometimes time and effort, it pays off in a variety of different ways. Put it that way. I think Sonic EXE. I don't know who Sonic.exe is, but thank you for being here nonetheless. And also, let's not forget, because today is St. Patrick's Day, please be safe out there. Please be careful. Right, I'll give you the resources for Windsor. However, within your local city, community, state for that matter, there's going to be likely a variety of services available also. So have a plan before you have a drink, right? Celebrate responsibly this St. Patrick's Day. As the festivities kick off, make sure to plan ahead, use a taxi, Uber, or other rideshare program. Never drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Expect an increased police presence on the roads. Officers will monitor traffic to ensure everyone has a safe St. Patrick's Day. I think if I recall correctly, Um, oh, here it is. Plan ahead. Local mad leader urges the public to celebrate St. Patrick's Day responsibly. Celebrate smart for St. Patrick's Day. Ensure you have a ride to and from your destination. Use taxis, use Ubers, um, and just be safe. I mean, it looked to me like not a symbol. It looked to me like just the rocks formed that way naturally. I didn't see any indication of a symbol, anyways, at least from what I saw, assuming I'm seeing the correct video. Um, be careful. Make sure if you're carrying a pistol, you're carrying it in conjunction or appropriately with the laws of the city, community in which you are located, right? Wherever you're at, there may be specific laws, specific regulations, specific whatever it might be, related to carrying of firearms. I believe in Joe Henry as well. Incredible athlete, incredible superstar. All right, St. Patrick's Day and Freemasonry. So this is an article from the Midnight Freemasons, dates to 2014. St. Patrick's Day and Freemasonry. This is by Stephen L. Harrison, 33rd degree. Every school kid learns March 17th is the day we celebrate the life and deeds of Mywyn Sucat, the second Bishop of Ireland, better known as Ireland's patron saint, St. Patrick. Those same school kids also learned Patrick's greatest triumph was chasing the snakes out of Ireland. It's true, there are no snakes in Ireland. Happy birthday, Olminty. However, that's more likely because there have never been any snakes on the isolated island. Captured and taken into slavery as a youth, Patrick escaped to the European mainland. While a slave, he converted from paganism to Christianity, and once on the continent, he sought refuge at Marmoutier Abbey, a French monastery. There he accepted his calling, which was to convert pagans to Christianity. With that, he returned to Ireland and became very successful in making these conversions. In a manner of speaking, the serpents he figuratively chased from Ireland were the pagan druids, not actual reptiles, which I don't think is fair. I've known some pagans. They're not reptiles, but nonetheless, we'll take this with perhaps the facetious tone it is meant. Arm the Tyler at the Tyler's Lodge. The Tyler should be armed with a kind manner, a friendly disposition, yet a firm stance. After a successful ministry, Patrick retired to County Down, where he died 461 AD. Although never officially canonized as the Catholic Church, he is in fact recognized as a saint, and today we celebrate the feast of St. Patrick, or St. Patrick's Day, on the anniversary of his death. However, even in Ireland, prior to the late 18th century, St. Patrick's Day was not that big of a deal. The same was true in North America, where churches in Boston, with its large Irish population, did not even recognize the day until 1737. So what, you ask, does this have to do with Freemasons? About 20 years later, during the French Indian War, a young Masonic colonel recognized the morale among his troops was low and decided what they needed, what today we would call some downtime. It was March, at the end of a long, brutal winter, and many of the troops were Irish. It didn't take long for the colonel to figure out the best way to declare a general holiday would be St. Patrick's Day. Several years later, the same Freemason, now a general in the American Revolution, faced a very similar problem. Billeted at Morristown, New Jersey, his troops were discouraged after a long winter of devastating fighting and losses. On top of that, the preceding winter of 1779 to 1780 was brutally cold. The general, George Washington, again had many Irish troops under his command, and once again, he saw the opportunity of celebrating St. Patrick's Day to boost morale. With that, Washington issued the order giving his troops their first day off in over 2 years. The general directs that all fatigue and working parties cease for tomorrow, the 17th instant, a day held in particular regard by the people of Ireland. The respite from the ravages of war and winter went over well with the troops, some of whom were said to celebrate with a hogshead of rum. Washington is credited with establishing the first instances of secular celebration of St. Patrick's Day, a tradition which caught on and has grown to become a major event today, with the hogshead rum replaced by freely flowing green beer. So we have Brother George Washington to thank for the creation of the celebration of St. Patrick's Day. This was written by Steve Harrison, a past master of Liberty Lodge number 31, Liberty, Missouri, the editor of the Missouri Freemason magazine, author of the book Freemasonry Crosses the Mississippi, and a fellow of Missouri Lodge of Research and also its senior warden. He is a dual member of Kearney Lodge number 311, St. Joseph, Missouri Valley of the Scottish Rite, Liberty York Rite, Mola Shrine, and a member of De Molay Legion of Honor. It's like at the very beginning only, and then I moved around the rock. Yeah, it didn't look like a symbol to me. Brian, have a good day as well. Please hit like, subscribe, consider doing a super chat. Even $1 helps out big time. And thank you all for being here. So if you want to know why we celebrate St. Patrick's Day, thank a brother, particularly thank Brother George Washington. Celebrating St. Patrick's Day, famous Irish Freemasons. This is from Freemasons.com. As we celebrate St. Patrick's Day and honor the patron St. Patrick, decide to look back at some of our most notable brethren from across the pond, particularly from Ireland. There is also a Grand Lodge of Ireland, but Irish Freemasons, Thomas Barnado, born on July 4th, 1845 in Dublin, Ireland. He became a medical student inspired by his time at medical school. He opened his own school in 1867, the East End Juvenile Mission. This school allowed him to commit his life to helping thousands of children in need through education, helping them find comfort in the classroom he could never find himself. In 1889, he was 44. Brother Bernardo was initiated to Freemasonry in London at the Shadwell Clerk Lodge, number 9, 1910. William Joseph Joey Dunlop, born February 25th, 1952, in the countryside of Unshinag, Ireland, second oldest of 6 children, and his father was a motor mechanic. While he had every intention of joining the military, as most men his age did, he did something unordinary, inspired by his father's work as a motor mechanic. He bought his first motorcycle at age 16. He quickly developed a passion for riding, and his first ever competition race was on the short circuit organized by the Motorcycle Road Racing Club of Ireland in 1969. Always the daredevil, he preferred the thrill of road racing on public roads to an organized circuit race. He competed in a total of, over his career, he won a total of 26 races. He was attracted to Freemasonry by its charitable pillar. He was initiated into Vow Ferry Masonic Lodge number 17 in 1989. Then got his fellow craft and master mason about a month, and then a month again later, he also joined the Royal Arch. So we've had several awesome Irish brethren over the years. But again, the celebration of the secular holiday of St. Patrick's Day comes from Brother and General George Washington. It is the same George Washington. Happy St. Patrick's Day, the Winding Stairs. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. I think many Masons celebrate St. George's Day as well. Yes, Brian, I've heard of the Oddfellows, an excellent group, a valuable part of they're not Masonic, but they are kind of in some ways part of the Masonic family. Certainly, they borrow, or there are a lot of parallels between the Oddfellows and Freemasonry. Um, you don't have to be religious to believe in a God or supreme being. At least I don't think you do. Hello, CD. Thank you for being here. Sháinte to you. As you can see from my pinned comment, I hope you're doing well. Well, I mean, every Mason will have to decide that for himself. I've said before, my supreme being is the rational nature of the universe as expressed through geometry and through science. So maybe for me, God is not so much a who as a what. All-seeing eye? No, I mean the all-seeing eye is not my God, nor is it a Masonic God. There is no Masonic God. The all-seeing eye is a concept. Um, Basically, it's a concept meant to represent maybe karma, maybe fate, maybe justice being universal. Um, well, again, I don't know if you can describe my supreme being as a what, as a who. I think it's better to describe it as a what or as a thing or even as a concept. Um, well, that's good of you to do that, to donate his necklace to the museum. I mean, I think you mean collar. Um, but I mean, it's one of those things where part of it falls on Freemasons. We need to be more responsible and better about making sure we are sending our items back to the lodges or leaving instructions that they get sent back to the lodges. Hello, C. Thank you for being here. I hope you're safe. I'm sure that it's a very scary time to be in Iran at the moment. I hope you're safe. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. Um, yes, I understand it means like health, or good health. Basically, it's colloquial for cheers. Okay, then I guess I'm delusional. I think there's plenty of evidence, though, that that the universe is rational, and there's plenty of evidence that that rationality is expressed through geometry and through science. So there is that. Valentine's Day is supposed to be. I mean, we celebrated Valentine's Day, Saint Valentine as well. But again, thank you to brother George Washington. Without him, we would not be celebrating St. Patrick's Day. All right, I'm going to be back in a moment. I have to go to the washroom like crazy. All this coffee I've had this morning. Here is my co host. Please be nice to him. No, no, don't do that, Brian. You already donated it to the to the museum, and I'm sure the museum appreciates it. And if the lodge wanted it back for whatever reason, they may request it from the museum directly. But it's yours to do it as you please, right? And yours to donate as you please. Then I have to go to the washroom. Well, I do. So this is my co-host. You can give him a name if you'd like. It's a moose. Don't fall. All right, I'll be back in a moment. All right, there we go. Just 1 second. Well, I mean, I would say the Irish are some of the smartest people I've ever met. Certainly, they have the gift for gab, which is to their credit. Um, well, I mean, you don't need to be Irish also to do dumb things. I think our human nature is such that we do dumb things. Corned beef Sammy sounds delicious. In the same way people used to make jokes about, well, yeah, I mean, there's a million of those jokes as well. Um, The English also didn't consider Irish to, well, I mean, I think unfortunately there will always be discrimination. Human nature is such that we tend to discriminate against others. I wish we didn't, obviously, but it kind of is what it is, unfortunately. I think we maybe as Freemasons have the opportunity or should try our best to change those patterns, right? Change those habits. Um, Pugilism as in boxing? Like, isn't pugilism fighting, if I recall correctly? Um, I have also seen, to its credit, a lot of Masonic organizations wishing a happy St. Patrick's Day to its membership, the United Grand Lodge of England, wishing everyone a very happy St. Patrick's Day, Sláinte, or Sháinte, hashtag Freemasons, hashtag St. Patrick's Day. Um, let's see what else. I think the Masons of California have said something. Masons of California. Oh, there's nothing on there at the moment. All right, well, United Grand Lodge of England wished everybody happy St. Patrick's Day. Many Masonic groups are on social media. Sláinte. I'm going to still keep pronouncing that right, or still keep pronouncing that incorrectly, but nonetheless. All righty. I'm the worst at pronouncing things. And I will say, though, I think it's honestly the fault of the Irish. Their spelling is strange, all right? I'm going to say that. Their spelling and pronunciations get strange sometimes. But yeah, United Grand Lodge of England posted a St. Patrick's Day notice, which was good for them. We've had also, let's see if I can find it now. The Fort Assembly number 26, International Order of Rainbow for Girls, posted a St. Patrick's Day picture. May your troubles be less and your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness come through your door. Happy St. Patrick's Day from the Fort Assembly number 26, International Order of Rainbow for Girls. The Grand Lodge, Free and Accepted Masons of Ohio, celebrating Irish heritage in Freemasonry. On St. Patrick's Day, we recognize the deep Irish roots within Freemasonry. The Grand Lodge of Ireland, founded in 1725, played a vital role in spreading the craft across the world. Irish Freemasons have helped shape the traditions and principles we continue to uphold today. Explore the history and influence of Irish Freemasons. And again, they talk about famous Irish Freemasons, Joey Dunlop, Thomas Bernardo, or Barnado, I should say. Again, the United Grand Lodge of England, wishing everybody a very happy St. Patrick's Day. The Grand Lodge of Ireland. Let me just... also wishes people the same. Um, Thank you, CD. And by the way, do you have any plans for St. Patrick's Day? I feel like there's a lot of Irish people in New York. Are you going to be doing anything to celebrate, going out, seeing people? Um, Out of curiosity. Scottish Rite, Northern Masonic jurisdiction, celebrates St. Patrick's Day by recognizing these Irish Freemasons. This is an article written, um, I don't have the date, looks like a couple years ago at least. Lieutenant Robert Blair Paddy Main. He was a founding member of the Special Air Services, a solicitor, a Rugby Union International Champions amateur boxer, and a polar explorer. He was born January 11th, 1915, in Newtown, County Down, one of 7 children. He joined the Territorial Army in 1939 prior to the outbreak of World War II. After training with the Queen's University Officer Training Corps, he received a commission in the 5th Light Anti-Aircraft Battery, Royal Artillery. He was then recruited by Captain David Stirling as one of the founding members of the Special Air Services, becoming one of the British Army's most highly decorated soldiers during World War II, received the Distinguished Service Order with 3 bars. There's also William Joseph Dunlop, Thomas Barnado. We talked about them as well. So congratulations to all of our Masonic Irishmen, or Irish Freemasons, I should say. Goodbye, Dad. I love you as always. Thanks for being here. I mean, no Mason should have supported any violent acts or any acts of terrorism. So any of that stuff, no, we within Freemasonry are instructed to be compliant with and respectful of the laws of the country in which we live or in which we work or in which we're traveling through. Now, in the more general question of the idea of, I guess, Irish independence, I mean, that's a political question. Every Freemason will have his own views on any type of political question. So there are some Freemasons who may have supported Irish independence. There are some who may have not supported it. I wouldn't be able to say. Yes, I learned that as well. So when you're flushing the toilet, put the lid down. It keeps the germs from spreading. Having said that, I don't always follow that. So what can I say? I'm not the best either. Um, there's an article here from Lodge Devotion number 723. The Irish Freemasons were strong in the state of Victoria, and members from Grand Lodges, Ireland, Scotland, and England all came together to form the United Grand Lodge of Victorian in 1889. After an earlier Grand Lodge of Victoria folded into United Grand Lodge of Victoria, but had comprised Irish and Scottish lodges. Hence, the Irish had a role in the formation of both of Victoria's Grand Lodges. In lodges with a strong Irish heritage, St. Patrick's Day on the March 17th is often a big deal and celebrated both formally and or informally. Ireland had the Troubles seated in the Norman invasion, with Henry II being the first English king to set foot on Irish soil, and the later Tudor and the Cromwellian invasion. Historical conflict in Ireland is often conceived as a struggle between Protestant and Catholic, and religion is a good prism in the post-Reformation world to examine Irish history. But it's also simplistic. Wolfe Tone, father of modern Irish republicanism and an early advocate of Catholic emancipation, was Protestant. The historian knows these conflicts were more about the history of identity, race, economics, conquest, invasion, and then repression, as they were about religion, which was later used to polarize. Roddy Doyle's novel The Commitments, made into a movie with the same title, has that famous line, "The Irish are the blacks of Europe," perhaps an apt description about repression based on racism and consequent disadvantage experienced by Irish Catholics. No Irish Catholics need not apply stood in the way of many people in the societies of Europe, the US, and here. Um, Freemasonry is sometimes mistakenly seen as an anti Catholic organization, but we know we don't talk about religion or politics in Lodge, and they, with economics, tribalism, and imperialism, are core to the troubles. We also know organizations ebb and flow, and while we have rightly lofty ideals and values, they have not often or always been practiced by all our members. Freemasonry should and does accept any man of good character with a belief in a supreme being. Secular sectarianism drove some Freemasons in 1795 to participate in establishing the Loyal Orange Order because that order's focus on Protestantism would have been unacceptable in lodges themselves. It is often described as the Protestant Masonic Orange Order, which confused some to think it's part of Freemasonry. But while it adopted and adapted many of the symbols and mechanisms of the craft, most obviously the word lodge and square and compasses, however, the Orange Order stands outside of Freemasonry. Even if many gave the Orange Order a friendly nod, its specific values must stand outside Freemasonry because of its religious nature, and I could suggest also because of the nature of its obligations and its very purpose. Um, and I'm being careful. I know members of the order, and while I think it played a strong role in sectarianism, those members meet Freemasons of the Catholic faith as brothers. The conflict between Catholic ribbonmen and Protestant orangemen should be left in the past and are irrelevant in Freemasonry. My interest in them as an amateur historian, fascinated by the complex and nuanced subject, often simplified into fictions. Sometimes people just get caught up and indeed trapped by the pressures of the day, but lodges should conscientiously and rightly stand outside religious and political events. It's a landmark of recognizing a Grand Lodge as regular. It's a droll fact that in sectarian marches, Catholics attacked Protestant marches, Protestants attacked Catholic marches, and on more than one occasion, both groups attacked Freemasons marching. From riots to rights, nationalist parades in the north of Ireland from 1997 is one source that mentions that, and it's an interesting read. There is no such thing as curses, the henchmen. I don't believe in them. And Freemasonry is not Illuminati, anyways. However, in this brief piece, we observe that we know post World War II, Freemasonry Victoria had and has many Catholic members, but so did Freemasonry in Ireland of the 1700s and 1800s, and beyond for that matter. The great Irish Catholic hero, Daniel O'Connell, known as the Emancipator or the Great Liberator, championed the removal of substantial civil, religious, and economic restrictions on Roman Catholics in Ireland. This charismatic Catholic lawyer and orator turned parliamentarian and champion of the Irish Catholic cause was also a Freemason. This often shocks those who throw Freemasonry into the mix as part of the Protestant ascendancy or as anti-Catholic. But its membership of our fraternity makes perfect sense. Irish Freemasonry was not closed to Catholics, though they did withdraw in force under pressure of certain bishops. Particularly after the 1826 papal bull of Leo XII against secret societies began to be enforced in Ireland with vigor. The events of the Italian Revolution, which challenged the temporal status of Pope King, saw the Italian Grand Master Giuseppe Garibaldi identifying themselves as Freemasons, challenged Pope Pius IX, eventually in war and then in defeat of the Papal States. This left the Pope, who was also a defeated temporal king, less than happy, and assists in understanding why the Catholic Church is not a fan of Freemasonry, sometimes openly hostile towards it. Hence, the driving forces were as much political as they were religious. Today, the Grand Orient of Italy is an irregular body, partly reflecting certain sections of Italian Freemasons' participation in Italian politics being unacceptable to a regular Grand Lodge. Masons can participate in politics. Many political leaders have been Freemasons, but the organization itself should not be political. I know of about 7 Italian Grand Lodges, the regular Grand Lodge of Italy, the one being regular. Anyway, O'Connell was once such resignation, supposedly under pressure from the particularly zealous bishops of Troy of Dublin. I'm not sure of the exact date of his resignation, but he was certainly an active Freemason. Dan O'Connell was initiated in 1799 in Masonic Lodge number 189 in Dublin. O'Connell's name was entered on Grand Lodge of Ireland's roll with 25 others on the 2nd of April, 1799, but the exact date of his initiation is unknown. He was the worshipful master of number 189 in 1800, an affiliate member of Ancient Union Lodge number 13 in Limerick City, and the founding senior warden of Lodge number 886, Tralee, County Irish rolls bears his signature under the date of the 24th of July, 1813, as counsel representing the Grand Lodge of Ireland. On the 19th of April, 1837, he wrote a letter to the newspaper, The Pilot, acknowledging his past membership and that he left Freemasonry after becoming aware of the ecclesiastic censure of our fraternity. Also saying oaths on the Holy Law or Bible were not compatible with his faith. Lucky, Brother O'Connell was unavailable to attend our recent Table Lodge meeting, where we had to go out shopping midway through the evening because we drunk our 3 bottles of scotch. We would need to redirect Brother O'Connell to one of Victoria's dry lodges, methinks. So there you go. Well, I'm a member of a Masonic Lodge in Israel, Grand Lodge number 50. Lodge Holy Land number 50 out of Tel Aviv, and proud of it. These are not party beads. These are green beads in honor of St. Patrick's Day. So consider them to be St. Patrick's Day beads. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Yes, we have initiations. We have initiations, passings, and raisings, but people are initiated within Freemasonry all the time. No, Freemasons did not cause a potato famine. Many Freemasons would have starved right along with everybody else. So it would be very foolish to start a potato famine. These beads are in honor of St. Patrick's Day. So do you have? Please hit like and subscribe. I'm Free Fallen. Please hit like and subscribe. Half Hawk, Half Man. How's it going? Thank you for being here once again. I hope you're doing well. Just talking about some interesting Irish history as it relates to Freemasonry. For obvious reasons, today is, after all, St. Patrick's Day. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. We're going to just keep hanging out for a bit longer. Please consider a super chat. Just $1 helps out big times. Helps out big time. It helps me turn my passion for Freemasonry into profession. I mean, I'm sure all the people eating potatoes did not help anything. Well, it's called the Entered Apprentice degree. It's the first degree within Freemasonry. It is meant to mimic many things, including the ascension of a stonemason to the apprentice level. Probably somewhere far enough back. What I would say is, and I never give specifics about the initiation, rather it's up to you to be interested in learning more about it and potentially joining. But what I would say is, I've never seen anything in any Masonic rituals that is illegal, immoral, or against one's religious, civil, familial responsibilities, or is unsafe. So that is the initiation. Otherwise, you got to join to learn more about it. And please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. I am getting close to 3,700 subs. So let's see what we can do. we're going to keep giving it a bit more time. Again, wait to see who joins. I'm going to be going on tonight, I believe, in my personal channel, possibly, to do some um, what was I saying? To do some movie watching, particularly of Leprechaun. I would be honored to have Irish in me. The Irish are wonderful people, a loquacious people, um, very cool part, a very vital part of Freemasonry. Maybe you are, but if you're not, always double check and also make sure that you are turning on your notification bell. So whenever I'm doing anything new on the stream or a new stream, a new video, you can find it. Um, Leprechaun, it is a horror, but it's an awesome, scary movie. It's what I always recommend people start with when they are getting interested or involved in scary movies, because it's a great horror film to start with. That's for sure. Um, no, you don't have to be a Mason. You can be whatever you want to be, but I appreciate you all being here. This is me talking about Freemasonry, trying to turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession, right? That's the goal. What's a good horror for advanced horror heads? I mean, at that point, it depends what your interests are, right? Because if you enjoy movies that are more on the gory side, there's some I'd recommend. If they're movies, if you enjoy slashers or whodunits, I mean, I would need to know more about what you mean by advanced. To me, I'll give you some scary movies that I don't think get enough appreciation and love. Specifically, I would say Incident in a Ghostland, which is available on Tubi here in Canada, is a great one. I would also recommend a Triangle is a great horror film that doesn't get the love it deserves. I think Mulholland Drive is not often recognized as a horror, but it is. Same with Requiem for a Dream. Um, oh, I forgot about that. You didn't press it too far. What I will say though is again, it's one of those things where, if somebody is a Freemason, then that's kind of the end of the debate, right? Now you can argue whether you think that a group organization should have more specific or be more, I guess, literal or pick your term in interpretations. But right, that's kind of not your position to say. It's kind of like me coming into a group and saying you guys should do it this way or that way. I mean, it is the way it is, right? You could start your own group and have more specific, interpretations. A good example of it is UFC. What's his name? Dana White, if I recall correctly. I guess people were claiming that he wasn't paying his fighters enough or whatever it is. And his response was, well, start your own promotion and pay the fighters more. I think there's a logic to that, right? Um, Requiem for a Dream is definitely a horror film without question. I don't see how you could describe it as anything else, especially to take into account the mother's story. If not for the mother's story, you could maybe call it more of a drama, although it's still pretty horrific what happens to every character. But I would say the entire, the mother's story makes it a horror for sure. Now, what I would say is, it did end with, thankfully, everybody still being alive. Many times, once drug addiction gets that far, at that point, it's no longer even a question of, they're going to live or not live. So, having said that, I would say and suggest, there's still hope for each of those characters. I know it doesn't seem like there is, but I would say there is, and maybe they can turn it around because they are still all alive. And they should be grateful for that. But they do end in pretty horrible situations and pretty horrible places. And who knows? Maybe maybe if those individuals within Requiem for a Dream had Freemasonry in their lives, they would be not have necessarily turned to drugs or alcohol. I mean, I've read articles where they talk about what ultimately Requiem for a Dream is not about drug addiction per se. It's about the desire for connection, the need for connection, and how not having that connection really harms individuals and really harms people. Um, right? The idea of addiction as being something that replaces human connection. Um, cinema.com talks about this. Um, Darren Aronofsky traces not only his second film, but also his very career as a filmmaker to a moment in a Harvard library when he stumbled across the work of celebrated author Hubert Selby Jr. He pulled out a worn copy of Last Exit to Brooklyn, Shelby's 1964 classic, brutality and desperation on Brooklyn's waterfront. Where is it? In Marion, Harry found someone whose emotional hunger matches his own. Let me see if I can track it down here. Right, Marlon Wayans also saw his character Tyrone as searching for connection. He lost his mother when he was 8 years old. Tyrone's dream is to one day be loved again and have that feeling of safety he had when he was young. Connolly commented, "There's this incredible longing in all of these characters and the need to fill it. The film explores the question of how they fill it, how they fill that need, for lack of a healthy path. Where do they go? Everyone in this film is longing to be connected, and the tragedy is that never really happens. They all sort of miss each other. Within Freemasonry, maybe we can provide a connection for people and to people, which can help them feel connected and help them find connection in healthy ways, as opposed to needing to turn to drugs and alcohol, including prescription drugs." So Freemasonry is not a gang, half hawk, half man. I mean, Freemasonry is just a civic group or community group, and they should get to know you, and they should get to know you well before you join, and you should get to know them as well also, right? It's very important that both within and without Freemasonry, like when you join Freemasonry, you are taking, well, I mean, a gang, I would argue, is not a civil group by definition, or a civic group, I should say. A civic group is a community group which bolsters the community and bolsters the civil space. I mean, sure, you can argue it's a club, and in that case, anything can be a club. But what makes Freemasonry a civic group and not simply a club or a gang is its compliance with and promotion of the laws of the country in which you live or in which you work, or in which you travel through. Um, no, I know you never said it's a gang. I spoke to whoever. I can't read it because it's in Hebrew, I think, the name. Um, So to be a Freemason, you must be of the correct age. You must be either 18 years of age or 21, usually. It depends on the jurisdiction. You must believe in a supreme being. However, the nature of that supreme being is very, shall we say, liberally defined. Um, and different jurisdictions will have slightly different ways of stating that requirement. Um, and you need to join of your own free will and accord. You need to approach the lodge and express your interest in joining. You can't be joining because, for example, someone is forcing you to, or expects you to, or has promised you riches or fame. That's not what it's about. You need to be joining of your own interest. Then you go through the process, you learn more about Freemasonry, they learn more about you. There's an application process. The requirements to join. Let's start by talking simply about the requirements to approach the lodge and express your interest in joining. And it's those three. You need to be of the correct age, believe in a supreme being, and be approaching of your own free will and accord, your own interest. I think it's better to talk about the requirements to approach the lodge as opposed to the requirements to join, because ultimately it's the lodge's decision. They can decide for themselves, right? They decide for themselves, they have a vote on whether they think you would make an appropriate Mason. And it's a leap of faith on both sides. Every time we bring in a new candidate or a new applicant and they become a Mason, we within Freemasonry are taking a leap of faith on them that they're going to be good candidates. And by the same token, or good Masons, they are taking a leap of faith that they're going to enjoy Freemasonry. Hopefully you can limit how far you need to leap based on getting to know the person and a good, proper application process. It depends on the nature of the offense. But again, I always tell people, never let a criminal record stop you from approaching the lodge, right? That's really important to keep in mind, because it may turn out that your criminal offense or criminal record is simply too significant, too great, and the lodge is just not comfortable allowing somebody to join who has a certain type of criminal offense, a certain serious offense. And you know what? That is within the rights of the lodge. But it's still nothing stopping you from approaching the lodge, expressing your interest in joining. Be honest about your criminal record, what it is, what happened. Never lie, obviously, and then let the lodge decide. But also maybe be prepared to explain the steps you've taken since the criminal offense. You know, how you've paid your debt to society. Did you take counseling? Did you go to jail? What type of inmate were you? Were you a model inmate? Have you avoided recidivism? You know, you can plead your case, but don't prejudge the situation. There are some lodges that require a criminal record check before you join. There are some lodges that don't. But I would suggest, even if the lodge doesn't require a criminal record check, you should still express your interest in, you should still tell them that you have a criminal record, explain what happened, and again, explain what you've done to try and make things better within your life and try to pay your debt to society. I mean, I think it's fair. I don't know what that means. To say, is it a fair trial to decide? I mean, it's an application process. I wouldn't really call it a trial per se. Yes, it should be always fair. I mean, individual Masons will always have their own prejudices, unfortunately, because we're human beings, but we should not let those interfere with the application process. It is possible to suspend a Mason. We use the term kicked out. If, for example, we find out that they're committing criminal acts, they would be suspended. If they're not paying their dues, they would be suspended. What factors? I mean, it's subjective, right? There is no single factor. If they have family members who are Freemasons and they've grown up around Freemasonry, it's probably a relatively short leap of faith because they already know enough about it to be comfortable. If they have no families who are Freemasons, and they've never, they're coming into it kind of blind, they may be taking a bigger leap of faith. I mean, I think people need to decide that for themselves, half hawk. It's kind of like, it's the old Bukowski quote where he says, "Don't try," right? Like some people, they may very well simply be focused on and desirous for peace and serenity more so than being the most richest or the most powerful or the most influential person. They may want a simple life. and in which case don't try is probably really good advice. I'm always checking the news. Right now I'm on CNN. I always want to see if there's any news that relates to Freemasonry that pops up at the last minute, or I'm always checking Twitter for the same thing to see what's trending, or I'm researching and reading an article because instead of memorizing the article, I'll simply read from the computer what the article says. Like I read the article about St. Patrick's Day and Freemasonry, Lodge Devotion 723 as well. Panda Sauce Man, well, thank you for being here. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Um, I mean, it's tough to say. Not maybe as much as it should. I mean, you're kind of trusting the Masons, right, to be good Masons and to be honest and to look for the internal and not external qualifications of man. I mean, certainly if I was, let's say, the worshipful master of a lodge and a brother were to express racist sentiments within a meeting or prejudicial sentiments within a meeting, I would have a talk with him and I would recommend he reconsider his views. If they were to continue, I might consider Masonic charges or suspensions. It would depend on what he's saying. But if he's not saying anything and if he's hiding his views, unfortunately, there's not a ton that we could do. And if you were to start discriminating against people based on their application, based on their race or their religion, I mean, it would be very hard to know because I'm not, it's not right to question a brother's decision-making process. It's between him and the ballot box. I suppose what I would say is the best thing we can do as Freemasons to ensure we do not have kind of improper reasons for voting against somebody to join would be simply to always remind brethren of the teachings or the ethical considerations of Freemasonry, that it is always prioritize the internal and not the external, being a good man and honorable, not one's race or religion or creed or background, and reminding people of that history and hoping that that speaks to a Mason's heart. I have not. I have never had to formally or informally admonish a fellow Mason for discrimination. Luckily, that's not ever been something I've had to do. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Freemasons are human beings. I'm sure there are Masons who are discriminatory, but they shouldn't be. And if it happens, I would not be comfortable with that. I think cult is bad. I think cults are bad. So no filter boss. No, let's not have cults. Yes, Freemasonry is not a cult. But don't worry, No Filter Boss always says that. It's just some gentle trolling. I don't take it too seriously. But Freemasonry is not a cult. I've talked about why it is in past streams. Light switches. Please hit like and subscribe, by the way. I know it's one of those things where you're kind of making a joke. But you need to understand, a lot of people will say, why is it that stonemasonry is the one organization that evolved into a social group called Freemasonry? But the truth is, it's not actually the case. The gardeners formed a social group based on the profession of gardening. They formed a social group, the Free Gardeners. Police officers formed a social group and club, the Fraternal Order of Police, outside of the profession of law enforcement. And the soldiers formed a social group, the Legion. So many professions have formed social groups and social clubs. It just so happens that Freemasonry became the biggest, primarily because stonemasons were the largest professional group, perhaps represented at the time. Nobody's fighting anybody. Half Hawk, I would need your citation on that. I don't think Black Americans are underrepresented in Freemasonry, especially because you need to consider Prince Hall Freemasonry, right? Which was initially started to deal with that underrepresentation and is now recognized in all but 3 states. It's unfortunate that it's not recognized in, I believe it's Mississippi and 2 others, if I recall correctly. And that is unfortunate. But when you take into account Prince Hall Freemasonry, I don't believe that's the case. If anything, I actually think Black Americans may be overrepresented, which is not a bad thing. Saying it that way sounds like it's bad. I think you just need to consider Prince Hall. But I would need to double check that citation and that source. I'm not sure if that's the case, though. Certainly, though, any time that Freemasons, there was many examples of Masons denying admission to Black men in the 17th and 18th centuries, hence the creation and development of Prince Hall Freemasonry, an incredibly valuable part of our craft and a valuable part of the Brotherhood. I mean, I knew that, but I don't know if they were the first influential third party. Wasn't the Republicans the first influential third party? It is not, Cobart. Now, it may be that it is based on what Stanley Kubrick thought of Freemasonry, though even that I don't think it's the case necessarily. But if that is what Stanley Kubrick thought Freemasonry was, he is very mistaken and very wrong. Um, oh my gosh, I'm not going to start counting off the racial dynamics of my lodge. Um, what I'll say is, I mean, I'm a member of 5 Masonic lodges, so it gets tricky. But I've sat with a significant number of Black Masons and Brown Masons and Indian Masons and White Masons and First Nations. Usually, in my experience, what it is usually reflects the racial makeup of the community. So if you live in a community where, let's say, it's 80% European or white, 10% Black, 5% South American, 5% Indigenous, usually your Masonic lodge will be the same. Like I said, it tends to, a Masonic lodge, in my experiences and within my travels, usually reflects not just the racial, but the economic, the religious, the the cultural makeup of the community. Like when I visited the Philippines, 99% of the Masons within the lodge I visited were Filipino. What you are seeing, though, interestingly enough, is a significant uptick in Filipino Masons across North America. I've been to some lodges where it's in North America and it's 70, 80% Filipino. Even in my lodges, there's a significant Filipino population, probably greater than percentages of the communities. So it's one of those things where, but again, the key thing to remember is Freemasonry does not make these discriminations. Individual Masons, unfortunately, may have prejudices in their hearts or in their minds, not just against members of different races, but members of different religions, whatever it is. The best way to combat that is by using Masonic meetings as a way to remind people of what Freemasonry truly stands for. Iran, Palestine, Russia, China. I mean, there's no official Freemasonry in Iran. There is the Grand Lodge of Iran in exile. There's Freemasonry in Russia. There's Freemasonry in China. And there's no Freemasonry in Palestine to my knowledge, but there are Freemasons there. I'm just going to call you Hot. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, and thank you for being here. I'm 5 subscribers away from 3,700 subs. I mean, I'd want to know more about where Zippia is getting that, and also whether Zippia is including within that Prince Hall Freemasonry, or whether they're using AF and AM Freemasonry. My suspicion is it's closer to 13% or above. Although, in fairness, 9.5 to 13 is not a terrible discrepancy. Also, I would suggest you check Half Hawk, the Filipino or other groups. You're going to see some interesting things. But I'm highly questioning of those numbers. Because also, like Freemasons, we don't make our membership rolls public. People have the right to privacy. So how would Zippia know? It's going to be using pretty general information. I'd be very hesitant about that, about those numbers. Once again, happy St. Patrick's Day. Let's celebrate St. Patrick's. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy it responsibly, enjoy it safely. Contact, if you need a ride right now, you can call, or sorry, if you're drinking, you can call Vets Cab 519-256-2621, Checker Cab 254-7777, 519-903-7796 for Windsor ride services. Uber and Lyft available via mobile apps. And you can also use Transit Windsor if you need to. So be safe, be careful. I remember that back in the day. Absolutely. Don't do that though. Don't be going on pinching people. If you're getting a ride from those services, no. I do believe there's some free ride services I'm not aware of, but just be safe and be smart and be careful. Make sure you're eating as well. Don't just be drinking without eating some food to be safe. Make sure that you are paying attention to yourself and your friends. Have a charged cell phone. Go out in groups. Don't leave anybody behind. All that good jazz. All right, guys, I think we're going to end this stream. I will be back on, I believe, tonight on my personal channel, youtube.com/@CameronAdamson, and we'll go from there. I think we do that all the time. I think one of the biggest keys to being happy in life is to recognize what you have in your life and be grateful for it. That is an incredibly helpful thing to do. All right, maybe I'll be back on at Cameron Adamson around 8 p.m. We shall see. All right, guys, thank you all for being here. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. I'll see you all soon.